Hey gang, so another steel wheel Modus, a fresh one. People were concerned because I did a steel test on the Modus. Jeez, sorry, Cedric's drinking and he drinks like a water buffalo. All good, mate? Yep. So people were a bit worried because this is, a fair few people have rushed out and bought the Modus because it's a cool knife. It's a bit like, it's a lot like the Cut Jack actually, but with a few differences. Cut Jack's just a little tiny bit bigger and with different blade shape, obviously. I did so the edge test on the Modus a couple weeks back didn't go as planned. It's the factory edge didn't last long at all, which I thought that's fine. But even no matter how sharp I made it and what edge I put on it, I really couldn't get it to perform like M390 should. So for example, a Wee knife with a 20-degree polished edge cut about 400 cuts of the rope that I do, like my rope test. Keep cutting rope and test it on paper until it no longer slices the paper. So Wee knife, 20 degrees, 400 cuts. And then just today I've done a Cut Jack. So steel wheel, another M390 knife, and it did 450 cuts of the rope, so a really good performance. The Modus that I originally did only got to 100 cuts with the best possible edge. I think I ended up getting it to 125, cutting it onto cork rather than onto wood. So obviously the wood, that bit of extra resistance, getting a little bit of extra edge life. But the test as I do it is onto the same chopping board I've been using for the whole time. I put a Lansky edge on it, and there it goes. So upon this, one of my viewers, Frank, sent me his brand new Modus. This is like an untouched knife for me to put a edge on and see what this steel does. My serial number was 215. This is serial number 274, 0274. I don't know what that actually means for how long or far apart the knives are. I don't know if there's, is it every batch of 300 and everyone counts from 0 to 300 or from 1 to 300. I don't know. No idea how these numbers work. I would assume they'd be unique. Anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to, as I've done already today, we're going to put it into the Lansky sharpening system, and we're going to put a 17-degree polished edge on it, and we're going to see how much rope I can get this Modus to cut. I'm hoping that my Modus, the one I've now sent off to steel wheel, was just a one-off that just, I don't know, the steel was just crap, or had a big, someone spilt a bag of sand into it or something. I don't know. Who knows? Someone, fell on the floor in the heat treating room and then just got put straight back on. Whatever it was, I'm fingers crossed that this one cuts a whole lot better. But we shall see. First of all, the sharpening. Let's get to it. I'm going to have everything going long form. I'll obviously speed up the mundane bits so it's not a 2-hour video. But this video will document the resharpening and the cut testing of this knife. So there you go. Let's get into it. Thank you, Frank. Fits pretty well. Yeah, a little bit on the small side, but I'm just not sure if that's because I'm a bit on the soft side lately. Who knows? Let's get back to it. Polishing stage now. been quite the day of sharpening. So, mirror edge on the steel wheel cut jack. Hold the knife still, paper can pull through it. Can curl paper or curl the edges. Curl the edges of the paper. Shaves hair off my arm. It's very, very sharp. So let's put it up against rope and see how it goes. Fingers crossed. Alright, so that did 425 cuts, hot on the heels of the cut jack, which did 450, well, which was no longer slicing by 450. Same edges, that would just probably come down to my, over that amount of cuts, my personal ways of doing the cuts, I would say, or just the edges still slightly, not quite exactly the same to begin with in terms of, like if you look at it under microscope. So yeah, that's a result again that you would expect, and it was a pretty effortless result as well. Like it didn't feel, from the beginning the knife just felt a bit different to sharpen. Had to use the purple stone, and it would have been a lot longer sharpening if I hadn't had that purple stone. And then pretty happy to say that is M390 because it holds its edge like M390. So 17 degree polished edge, steel wheel Modus. This number is 274, 425 before it no longer sliced paper. So what does that mean for my first one, which was only about 60 numbers away, serial number wise? I don't know. I can only speculate. Thinking back on the tests, maybe the edge was burnt and the more, because I guess the numbers did get higher and higher slightly. So the last one, on the second video, I got it up to 125. I thought that was maybe just because I was using a cork mat. Maybe I was gradually removing the funky burnt edge from perhaps a belt sharpening process or something. That's a bet. I mean, unless it was just not heat treated at all, which I can't see that happening. I would assume this is all pretty assembly line-ish done. So very, very strange. That first one, I don't really have an answer. I'm curious to see what they say when they send it back. Yeah, the most logical, I think, is the edge might have been burnt and I was gradually removing the material. I would have thought you wouldn't have to remove that much to get a burnt edge off, but I guess you never know. You never know how far in a scorch can go that makes the steel act weird. So that part I am not an expert on. What I can do though is cut lots of rope with a 17 degree edge, and in this case I'm happy to say the steel wheel Modus did pretty good. So again, down the part that did no cutting, still pull the paper through, really, really sharp. Part that did, so it's hard to find a straight scrap. Part that did all the cutting, wouldn't have any chance of doing that. It just folds and tears the paper. So that is the test done. Thank you for watching. Hope you've enjoyed. Some, put minds at ease, those who have the Modus. It was probably just mine, well, let's be positive, let's be optimistic, and it's probably just mine. look, if you have an experience with the steel wheel Modus, like an actual experience, I'd love to hear it in the comments, how you feel it holds its edge. Obviously, I've had both extremes. I'm sure they might watch the comments as well, so if you have anything perhaps you want to say about these knives, then by all means, probably have at it, I would say. Thanks for watching, dudes. Hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video, which will still be, there is still one more Modus to go, so I've got another one on the way. So let's look forward to that, perhaps. We'll see how we go out of 3. Alright guys, I'll catch you in the next video. Bye now. I'm just sore.